I love you, bitch.
Oh my god.
I ain't gonna never stop loving you, bitch.
Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So today's video is very chill. As you can see, this is all happening. That's okay. I like being comfy. So there's that. But today's video is going to be a kind of story time / a video that I hope you can kind of take something away from. And it's going to be about my experience having to essentially fire my weight loss doctor, my weight loss surgery doctor in Colorado. My neighbor's dogs are barking. They've been barking for the last 10 minutes and they aren't stopping. So I'm just going to keep filming. I apologize. So I didn't really fire him. I just kind of stopped going to him. And what happened was I went there once and I just had a not great experience and I never went back. And then after that, I kind of just stopped trying to find a weight loss a bariatric doctor in Colorado, which I would not recommend. If you have a bad experience with a doctor, please don't just stop looking. But that's personally what I did because I felt like I was doing okay on my own. And I also knew that I have my office back at home. If I ever had questions, I could just call. The main reason I'm making this video is I really feel like, especially right now, it's so important to vouch for yourself and to vouch for your personal health and to do what's best for you. And if that requires going to see a different doctor after going to another one, that's okay. Especially when it comes to bariatric surgery and a bariatric clinic, you want to feel comfortable. When it comes to a bariatric clinic, you want to feel comfortable. It's a very vulnerable place to go. And it's a huge step that you've taken with yourself to finally go to one of those places. And I feel like some people might think oh, I'm going to this one, and so they're married to that one, when that's not the case at all. And especially with bariatric clinics, I feel like a lot of them have the right intentions, but I think some of them know what kind of industry the weight loss industry is, and that's just something to keep in mind as well. I'm not going to name the doctor or the clinic because I don't want to. But I just wanted to share this experience, and it might help you find some red flags if you're going out there starting to embark on a weight loss surgery journey. Because I was lucky, or I was not lucky. I was lucky. So back at home, there was only one bariatric clinic in the entire region. So I really only had one option. And I was super lucky in the fact that they all were absolutely amazing there, and I would recommend them to everybody. But if you have an option, if you don't feel comfortable at the first one right away, take that as a sign and maybe go to a different one. Look at your options because it's a very big step. Anyways, I'm rambling, so let's just get into the story. So this happened back in 2019, so pre-Panini. And I was also a year out from surgery. I had found this clinic in Colorado based on reviews, and I did it because my doctors here told me that when I moved, I should find a clinic to become a part of, just for checkups and stuff if anything ever went wrong, or if I just needed help with stuff. So I did that relatively soon after I moved here, but this appointment, I believe, was in September, and I had moved out here in June, so it was really soon after I moved here. So when I showed up, the clinic was super nice. You could tell that it was very nice. It was very clean, very professional looking. I checked in, and then I sat next to this girl in the waiting room. We started up conversation, and I talked to her about how I was already 1 year post-op, and I asked her, hey, have you are you going to down the path to get surgery, or are you just here for weight loss help? Because you can't go to bariatric clinics just for weight loss help. You don't necessarily have to be on the path to surgery. I don't know if this one was just for surgery purposes or if it did kind of both. I don't know. But she told me that she was on the path to having surgery. She seemed really anxious for some reason, and she kind of just brought it up herself, and she mentioned that she had moved that past month since the last time she saw the doctor. And I said, cool, good for you. And she was really nervous that she had gained weight. And I told her, I said, hey, like, moving is stressful. Like, I just did that almost cross country like 3 months ago. I said, your body will adapt. And if that means that you gain a little bit of weight, that means you gain a little bit of weight. But you're here. I told her, I'm like, you're here. You're doing the things that you need to be doing. So, like, I wouldn't stress about it too much. Like, it's okay. And she said that she was afraid that this doctor would kick her out of the program if he found out that she had gained weight. And I understand that she very well could have been, like, being dramatic or whatever, or just like overthinking things, because like, hi, welcome to my channel, I overthink everything too. But just for me, being in a clinic that even remotely fostered an environment that you could be kicked out because of like life circumstances and weight gain, that was not comfortable for me, and it immediately just put a bad taste into my mouth, coming from the fact also that she hadn't had surgery yet. So, like, she was still learning the basics, because we all are. We're never done learning basic stuff. I'm sure her relationship with food probably wasn't the best, just going off of my own experiences. And if I was stressed in moving and I hadn't had my surgery yet, I would have taken that out on food, which is something that you work through in the process to getting bariatric surgery. So if she hadn't had surgery yet, she probably hadn't gone through all of that treatment yet to be signed off for surgery. Also, I do understand that doctors reserve the right to cut ties with a patient if they are not being compliant and they're just not doing what they're supposed to be doing. I get that 100%, but I think there's other things to do before just like kicking someone out because they gained weight, you know? Like, my doctors at my clinic told me if a patient there like gained weight or whatever before they had surgery, they more often would not, they would just like push their surgery back and help them get back on track and losing weight again before they actually had the surgery. And then they would have their surgery after that, after they like got back on track and were losing for a certain amount of time. And so I think the idea of her even just being afraid that they would kick her out of this program for gaining weight was really gross, to be completely honest. And it just put a bad taste in my mouth, like, right away while I was in the waiting room. Okay, now into my actual experience with this place. So I want to preface this by saying that this whole appointment was about 20 minutes long. So everything I'm about to tell you that happened in 20 minutes, and that was it. So he came in, and his nurse was really nice. The nurse was a sweetheart. Shout out to nurses. Y'all are the best, okay? But yeah, so he comes in, he asks why I'm there, and I said, I'm a year post-op, and I just moved out to Colorado, and I'm wanting to establish a relationship with a bariatric doctor here, just in case I need anything, and on the advice of my clinic back at home. I also explained that I was roughly 115 pounds down. Actually, no, I think I was 100 pounds down at this point. So I said, yeah, I've lost like 100 pounds. I'm just here to keep it going. Sorry if my eyes like get red every once in a while. I keep yawning and I'm just like cutting those out as I go along. So just ignore me, please. He didn't like acknowledge anything about my success up to that point, which I am never one to like fish for compliments ever. But like acknowledge that kind of success. Like a doctor should acknowledge that, I feel like, because it's a big deal. He didn't acknowledge that at all. He just went into it right away and he said, Megan, if you're going to be a part of this program, you are currently taking 2 substances that you have to come off of. And I was just like, okay, elaborate, please. The first was which, like, okay, fair, that's fine. And I did smoke for a little while. Like, before that appointment even happened, I already made the decision with myself that I was going to stop because I really didn't need to do it. And also my munchies are just, like, incurable, and it was really counterproductive at that point. And I still don't smoke anymore for that reason. So I was like, okay, cool, like, whatever, I understand that, that's fine. I'm already quitting anyways, like, I've already quit, it's cool. And then he says, the next one is caffeine. And I was like, okay. I was like, can you explain why? Because my doctors at home, like, never explained this to me. And he said that caffeine puts you at a greater risk of developing ulcers when I'm already at a greater risk of developing ulcers because I am a bariatric patient. And that was it. That was the reason. I had never heard this from my surgeon back at home, my PA back at home, and my obesity science doctor back at home. This was the first time I was hearing of caffeine. And I was like, okay, like, let's hear what else he has to say. I'm here for his expertise. Like, let's keep going. He asked me about how much food I was able to eat at this point. I was about a year post-op. And I said maximum, like, I am able to comfortably eat like 2 cups of food per meal. Because he asked me in cups, to measure it in cups. And then he rebutted with that at my stage post-op, I should be eating a maximum of 1 cup per meal. 1 cup of food per meal. And I was like, oh, okay, like, cool. And he asked me if I could commit to doing these things, and then I would be admitted into the program. And I said yes, fully knowing that I was never coming back to this place again, because I had already been through an amazing program back at home, and I feel like that's how it should be for all of them, because it was just so comfortable and so relaxed. So I knew full well I was not coming back to this place, because he just, like, and then he just said, okay, well, I look forward to working with you, and just dipped. Like, bye. Like, and this all happened in 20 minutes. It was literally like boom, 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 boom. This is what you need to do. You need to stop drinking caffeine. You need to stop smoking weed. You need to, which is fine, you need to eat 1 cup per meal. That was it. It was boom, 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 boom. That was it. 20 minutes, in and out the door. And I was like, so there's a lot to unpack here. First off, like I said, this whole interaction took place in the span of about 20 minutes. Definitely not what I wanted my initial consultation with a doctor that I was looking forward to establishing a, like, long-term relationship with. I did not want that to be that short, but it was. I think that was probably, honestly, one of the shortest interactions I have ever had with a doctor. Like, ever. So, yeah, there's that. And also being told that I could not drink caffeine of any kind at all. With my chronic illness, it was just kind of a no-go for me. And is that a bad thing? I don't know. But I will say I understand the restriction possibly at the beginning for a new bariatric patient. I understand that restriction and that it might be necessary. But, like, I was a year post-op. Like, I had been drinking coffee every single day. And I was fine. And my doctors in my post-op appointments never told me there was anything wrong with it. I actually saw the PA that I worked with through the majority of my time at my bariatric program back at home. I saw her when I went home for Christmas that year because, like I said, it was pre-panini. And I told her about that, and she was like, that's weird. Like, I've never heard of that before. And I was like, you and me both, sis. You and me both. If there's anything I have learned after meeting and befriending fellow bariatric people, it's how vastly different our bodies are and how our bodies respond to this surgery. Like, some people can eat a cup of food per meal and be totally satiated and totally great. Some people can't. Some people can drink through a straw. Some people can't. Some people can chug water. Some people can't. Like, it's such a person-to-person thing. And the fact that he didn't take the time to really get to know me and get to know how I got to where I was, that it felt like that personal connection just did not matter to him. And I really think in a bariatric program, that personal connection is what keeps patients going back. And so seeing that kind of an environment was really sad to me, especially coming out of what I did back at home. Being told to eat a cup of food per meal after that really stuck with me, and I became very obsessive over it for a while. And I would actually like measure out like even my veggies, like a cup, like I would measure everything out so that it equaled a cup of food. And that got to be so obsessive and bad for me, and I dropped weight. Like, I'm not gonna lie about that. That's how I got to my lowest weight. But in hindsight, when I stopped doing that because I was like, Megan, you need to eat more food, I gained it back. And that's primarily where my weight gain came from last year, was because I started eating the amount of food that I felt like my body needs. And now I'm just like fine-tuning it with my registered dietitian now. Overall, besides being like very pretty and very professional and modern, the vibe in that office like right away was kind of uncomfortable and very fast-paced and very impersonal and very weird. Like I said, the fact that he just kind of thought he knew my entire story based off of a questionnaire that I filled out before I got there, that's how he knew that I used marijuana and that I consumed caffeine, was because I filled out a questionnaire before I went there. And like the fact that he just used that and thought he knew my entire story and my entire process, like, and didn't take the time to ask questions, because he did not ask a single question about me. He just told me what he needed me to do in order to be a part of his program. And that just put me off right away. And I simply just cannot be in an environment that creates the kind of mindset that if you gain weight, you're going to get kicked out. Especially if it's especially being a bariatric program, because like I said, making the decision to be a part of a bariatric program and get that level of help with your weight and your health is a very, very difficult introspective decision. And it requires a lot of vulnerability. And so going into that kind of situation is you're already feeling super vulnerable. I cannot imagine Megan pre-surgery getting kicked out because she gained weight. I would have taken 5 steps backwards, and I honestly don't know what happened to that girl in the waiting room. I really hope she was doing really well, because I could just tell she had it. Like, she was determined. She had that fire to make this change for herself. And so if she wound up getting kicked out, forget them, honestly. Like, creating that kind of environment at all is just not healthy to me. Like, it makes the idea of weight loss even more unattainable to people who want to do it. And immediately, like, I was just put off from this clinic. And actually, after talking to her, I was already questioning if I wanted to come back. And so basically, yeah, I just never went back. He wanted to schedule a follow-up appointment, I want to say 3 months later, but I never went back because I just didn't feel comfortable there. And that's a super important thing to me when it comes to physicians and healthcare professionals and getting medical help, is feeling comfortable where I'm going, within a certain extent. I really want to know your thoughts and opinions about this. Am I reading into it too much? Am I oversensitive? I don't know, but everything just felt so off with the way it went that I ultimately made the decision to fire my weight loss doctor and to not go back to him, because I just did not like the vibes, And I'm not saying if a doctor tells you something you don't want to hear, not to listen, because we all need that sometimes. I needed that. That's what sparked me to lose weight and to take the steps that I did. But like, if you genuinely just feel uncomfortable, like, maybe that's a sign to go somewhere else. And that's not a bad thing. Don't feel like you're married to a bariatric doctor, or any doctor for that matter, because you went there once or twice or even 3 times. Like, don't feel like you can never get out of a bad doctor situation. And I feel like that's kind of something that like isn't talked about a lot, is that it's okay if you feel uncomfortable and you do not like the doctor that you went to go somewhere else. That's the main reason I'm making this video. I just was like thinking about this the other day, and I'm like, oh, this might be a good thing to talk about, because like finding a weight loss doctor can be kind of hard, and some of them are really intense and like don't have any idea of what it was like to be fat, and so like they just don't make the best doctors. I honestly don't know if my doctors even had any idea of what it was like to be fat, but they were really nice and they were so sweet and supportive and understanding, and that's all I really cared about. But yeah, so this feels like a very random video, but I just felt like making it because I felt like it was an important thing to talk about. And yeah, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Let me know any questions you have down below. And yeah, all the links to everything about me will be down below. The links to my Etsy store, my merch store, the link to join my channel. We're doing our first stuffed pierogi Zoom call next Sunday. So if you want to be a part of that, go join. It's gonna be really fun. If it does get to 20 members, it will become a live stream. But yeah, so that's all I got for this one. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope you took something out of it. I hope you liked learning about my terrible experience at a bariatric clinic in Colorado. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you so much. Be kind to yourself. Stay kind to yourself. I love you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.